Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today, we're diving into the moment Jack gets the most terrifying call of his life. Tu Tien is being held for ransom, and the police only have one shot to save her before it's too late. Will Jack's risky handoff lead him to Tu Tien safely, or will everything fall apart at the last second? If you enjoy emotional, dramatic stories like this, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next episode. The night after the ransom call, Jack doesn't sleep. He sits at the kitchen table with his phone in one hand, staring at the same thread until the letters blur. The house is too quiet. Every small sound, wind against the window, the tick of the wall clock, feels like it's mocking him. In the next room, Anna finally settles, a 15-month-old with two tiny braids that never stay neat. She toddled to the doorway earlier, searching for the person who always answers. Jack had held her and whispered promises he wasn't sure he deserved to make. When Officer Thu arrives before dawn, Jack is already dressed, like he's been waiting at the edge of a cliff all night. "They want 500 million, Jack says, voice low. "They say they'll take her far away if I don't pay." Officer Thu nods. "We don't negotiate alone. We use this to find her." Jack grips the table. "If I mess up, they'll move her." "That's why we plan," Officer Thu replies. "You meet him, we watch, we catch him, we make him talk. Then we move fast." The creditor sends the location, an empty dirt road between fields, away from town, away from cameras, away from help. Jack reads it and feels his stomach drop. "That's a trap," he mutters. "It's a test," Officer Thu corrects. "He wants you scared, he wants you alone." Jack types with stiff fingers. "Okay, I'm coming. Don't touch her." A reply appears instantly. "Cash only, no tricks. 6 p.m. Big tree by the canal, headlights off." At midday, Jack drives to the bank. The cash bag they prepare looks ordinary, plain, forgettable, but in Jack's hands it weighs like stone. Officer Thu's team checks the stacks, notes serials, and seals everything with practiced speed. "This bag is her life," Jack whispers. "It's bait," Officer Thu says. "Your job is to keep him confident. Our job is to end it." Back home, Mother Loy arrives early. She moves around the kitchen like she's trying to hold the house together. Rice porridge simmering, cups rinsed twice, the same motions repeated because stillness would break her. Uncle Dung paces the yard, jaw tight. When Jack steps in, Anna reaches for him immediately. Jack crouches, lifts her, and holds her longer than usual. "Stay with Grandma, okay?" he murmurs. "Bar has to go out." Anna pats his cheek as if she can smooth the worry away. Jack swallows hard and looks at Mother Loy. "If she asks, tell her I'm working. Don't let her near the road." Mother Loy nods, eyes wet. "Bring Tu Tien home." At 5:30, winter light starts fading. Jack gets into his car and drives out, the cash bag on the passenger seat. Behind him, unmarked police vehicles spread out, distant and quiet, no sirens, no lights, just shadows in traffic. As the town falls away, the road opens into fields. Wind pushes through dry grass. The lane ahead is narrow, uneven, and empty enough to make Jack's skin crawl. He keeps hearing Tu Tien's voice in his head, gentle and steady, like she's sitting right beside him. At 5:58, his phone buzzes. "Stop now, lights off." Jack sees the tree, taller than everything around it, lonely and obvious. He pulls under it, turns off the headlights, and sits in the dimness with his hands locked on the steering wheel. A motorbike rolls in from a side path, slow and cautious. The rider's helmet is low, face hidden. Then another figure steps into view, and Jack's chest goes tight. Mrs. Tui. She stands with her arms folded, chin lifted. The creditor gets off the bike and scans the road as if he can smell a trap. "Jack," he calls, voice almost playful. "You came." Jack steps out with the bag, keeping his posture steady even though his heartbeat is loud enough to drown the crickets. "Where is she?" The creditor smiles. "Money first." "I want proof she's alive," Jack says, forcing each word out clean. Mrs. Tui cuts in, sharp. "Stop wasting time. Pay if you want her back." Jack's eyes lock on her. "How can you do this?" Her expression flickers, then hardens again. "Life is expensive," she says. "People who don't pay lose." Jack swallows rage and lifts the bag. "Here, 500 million, take it." The creditor walks closer, slow and smug. He takes the bag, opens it enough to see stacks of cash, and his smile grows wider. "That's more like it," he murmurs. He turns to step away. "Police! Don't move!" Flashlights burst from the dark. Officers rush in from both sides, fast and controlled. The creditor freezes, money still in his hands. Mrs. Tui jerks backward, but an officer blocks her instantly. The creditor bolts one step. Officer Thu drives him down into the dirt and cuffs him. No punches, no chaos, just the cold click of metal and the creditor's sudden, furious breathing. Jack stands frozen, the world ringing in his ears. Then his voice tears out of him. "Where is Tu Tien?" Officer Thu keeps one hand on the suspect. "Stay back." Jack doesn't move closer, but his eyes burn.
"Tell me where she is!" The creditor laughs once, short and bitter, then flinches as the cuffs tighten. "By the stream," he spits. "A hut near the water. Follow the trail up. You'll see it." Officer Thu's face hardens. "Which trail?" The creditor jerks his chin toward the dark mountain line. "Up there! She's alive!" Still alive. Jack's knees nearly give. He grips his car door to stay upright. Officer Thu turns to his team, already moving. "We go now, no delay." Jack steps forward, voice rough. "I'm coming." Officer Thu meets his eyes for a second, then nods. "Stay close. Do exactly what we say." Jack climbs back into his car, hands shaking on the wheel. Somewhere beyond that mountain line, near running water, and a hidden hut, Tu Tien is waiting.
And for the first time since she vanished, Jack feels something sharper than fear. Hope. The cars don't race up the mountain road like in movies. They move carefully, lights low, tires crunching over gravel, because one wrong sound could be the difference between finding Tu Tien or arriving too late. Jack follows right behind Officer Thu's vehicle. His knuckles are white on the steering wheel. Every time the road curves, he feels like the mountain is swallowing the world. No houses, no street lights, just cold air and dark trees pressing in from both sides. At the base of the trail, they stop. Officers step out quietly, checking radios, tightening straps, lifting flashlights but keeping the beams angled down. The stream is somewhere ahead. They can hear it faintly, like whispering in the dark. Officer Thu turns to Jack. "From here we go on foot. Stay behind us. If we tell you to stop, you stop." Jack nods fast. His voice doesn't want to come out, but he forces it. "She's really alive?" Officer Thu's expression is steady. "We don't celebrate yet." We move. They climb. The trail is narrow, damp, uneven. Jack's shoes slide in mud once and he catches himself on a tree. His chest burns from breathing too hard, but he doesn't slow. In his head, he keeps seeing Tu Tien's face the last morning he saw her, trying to smile, trying to make everything feel normal. The stream grows louder. Then, one officer lifts a hand. Everyone freezes. Ahead, through branches, there's a weak glow, like a lantern behind thin wood. A hut, barely standing, built from old boards and patched metal sheets. Smoke stains the roof. The door is shut, and a rope runs across it like someone decided a simple lock wasn't enough. Officer Thu signals 2 officers left, 2 right. Another steps forward, listening. Inside, there's movement. A soft sound, someone shifting, maybe a cough. Jack's heart slams so hard he feels dizzy. Officer Thu whispers, "Now." They move in fast. One officer cuts the rope, another pushes the door. The hut gives a loud creak, and Jack's entire body jolts. But before panic can spread, officers are already inside, flashlights sweeping the small space. "Police!" Officer Thu calls.
"Stay where you are!" Jack steps up behind them, and for a second he can't see anything but shadows and dust. Then he sees her. Tu Tien is on a thin mat near the wall, hair messy, face pale, hands trembling as she pushes herself upright. Her eyes are wide, not with drama, just disbelief, like she's afraid her mind is making this up. Jack's voice breaks. "Tu..." She stares at him. Her mouth opens, but no sound comes out at first. Then she whispers, barely audible, "Jack." He tries to rush to her, but an officer stops him for 1 second, checking the space, making sure no one is hiding, making sure the hut isn't a trap. That 1 second feels like torture. Then Officer Thu nods. "Go." Jack drops to his knees beside her.
He doesn't care about dirt or dust or the fact that his hands are shaking so badly he can barely hold her face. "You're here," he says, like he has to repeat it to make it real. "You're really here." Tu Tien lifts her hand, fingertips brushing his cheek like she's checking if he's solid. Tears spill down her face silently. "I thought you wouldn't find me." Jack pulls her into his arms carefully like she might snap. His voice is rough. "I will always find you." Behind them, officers search the hut. A small bag in the corner, a few medicine packets, a cheap phone. Nothing else that matters more than the fact that Tu Tien is breathing. Officer Tu crouches beside them. "Tu Tien, can you stand? Are you hurt?" Tu Tien nods slowly. "My head, I fell."
"They kept locking the door." She looks down, ashamed. "I fought. It didn't help." Jack's arms tighten. "You don't have to explain. You're safe now." Officer Thu stands. "We'll take you down carefully. Then you go straight to the hospital for a check." The walk back is slower. 2 officers support Tu Tien on each side. Jack stays close enough to catch her if her knees buckle. She leans into him once, exhausted, and Jack whispers, "Almost done, just a little more." When they reach the vehicles, cold air hits their faces like a slap. Tu Tien shivers. Jack immediately takes off his jacket and wraps it around her shoulders, even though the night bites into his own skin. "You're freezing," he says. Tu Tien shakes her head weakly. "I'm okay, just tired." Jack looks at Officer Thu.
"Mrs. Thu, did you..." Officer Thu answers without looking away from the road. "She's in custody. The creditor too. They'll be questioned tonight." Jack exhales a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Relief hits him so hard he almost feels sick. At the hospital, the lights are bright and clean. Nurses move quickly. A doctor checks Tu Tien's head, her arms, her breathing, asking questions in a calm voice that feels like it's pulling the world back into order. "She's dehydrated," the doctor says, "and she needs rest, but there's no life-threatening injury." Jack closes his eyes and presses his forehead against the edge of the bed. "Thank you." Tu Tien reaches for his hand. Her fingers are cold. "Anna?" Jack jerks his head up. "She's with Mom. She's safe." Tu Tien's eyes fill again. "I missed her." Jack squeezes her hand gently. "She missed you too." Later, Officer Thu comes in with a folder. He speaks quietly, respectful. "We'll need your statement when you feel strong enough. Tonight, just rest. But one thing, when you remember any detail, anything they said about plans or people, tell us." Jack nods. "I will." Tu Tien looks at Officer Thu, voice small but steady. "They called him the creditor. But she, Mrs. Tui, she spoke like she was sure I had no way out." Officer Thu's gaze hardens. "That's enough for now." By morning, Mother Loy arrives with Anna. The moment Anna sees Tu Tien on the bed, her whole body lights up. She toddles forward, arms reaching, braids bouncing unevenly, making small, urgent sounds like she's been holding them in all night.
"Anna!" Tu Tien whispers, tears spilling again. Mother Loy lifts the toddler carefully onto the bed. Anna leans into Tu Tien's chest and clings there, small hands gripping the blanket. Tu Tien wraps an arm around her, trembling. Jack stands at the foot of the bed, watching. His eyes sting. His throat tightens. He feels like he's watching a miracle happen in a plain hospital room. Uncle Dung steps in behind Mother Loy, voice low. "We brought porridge and warm water. Anna wouldn't eat until she saw you." Tu Tien manages a weak smile. "I'm sorry." Mother Loy shakes her head firmly. "Don't apologize for surviving." Jack sits beside Tu Tien and rests his hand over hers. "You're coming home."
"We're done with secrets, done with fear, done with you carrying pain alone." Tu Tien looks at him for a long moment. Something flickers behind her eyes, guilt, love, and a worry that still hasn't disappeared. Jack notices it. He doesn't push, not here, not with Anna watching. But he leans closer and whispers so only she can hear. "When you're ready, you tell me everything. No more hiding." Tu Tien swallows and nods once, small and slow. That afternoon, Officer Thu calls Jack outside the room for a quick update. The creditor confessed. Mrs. Tui tried to deny at first, but the evidence is strong. "You did well not acting alone." Jack stares down the hallway. "I almost lost her." "But you didn't," Officer Thu says. "Now you protect her, and you keep your phone on. We'll need you for follow-up statements." Jack nods. "I'll cooperate." When he goes back into the room, Anna is asleep on Tu Tien's lap, a tiny fist holding the edge of the blanket. Tu Tien's eyes are closed too, but not fully asleep, just resting, finally letting her body believe she's safe. Jack sits quietly beside them. Somewhere beyond these hospital walls, his biggest project with Min Hung is waiting. Money, deadlines, pressure. But right now, he only watches his wife breathe and his daughter sleep, and he realizes something simple. No contract matters more than this. And this time, he's not letting their world shatter again. Jack receives a shocking ransom demand. Tu Tien has been taken and the kidnappers want 500 million. Following Officer Thu's plan, Jack agrees to meet at the location the creditor chooses, pretending he has no backup. But the police are already in position, watching every move. Jack arrives with the money, forcing himself to stay calm, while fear tears him apart inside. The moment the creditor takes the cash, officers rush in and arrest him on the spot. Under pressure, the creditor breaks and reveals where Tu Tien is being hidden, near a stream in a remote shack. Jack and the police race there immediately. They storm the place, find Tu Tien weak but alive, and bring her out safely. Mrs. Tui is captured as well. After days of panic and silence, Jack and Tu Tien finally reunite, holding each other in relief.